Hey folks, Steve here with another Fleurus 1794 video for you. I mean it. I mean it this time, guys. We're going to do multiple turns in a video. I swear it's going to happen. We're going to do it. Um, if I can avoid making any other major issues that don't need explaining. Um, so if you missed that video, just know that the whole command and movement stuff I was getting wrong for part of the turns turns one and two. I was able to fix those mistakes, and we're on the right track. Um, and after rereading the rules, getting some confirmation from the very cool, helpful, and awesome guy, Tom Swider, also confirmed by Justigard in the comments of the previous video, I was able to get it right. And then even in that last video, we were playing it right by the end of the video. So, um, there may be little things like that I'm gonna have to really watch out for. I do think I'm over the hump of okay, this is actually how you play the game, and the way things work, and kind of the things you need to watch out for. Where the fog of war is, even if you're not using hidden units, on who's going to get to move, and what are they going to do. Um, and my assumption that generally you're going to try to keep a formation together to get initiative is a common one, or is a good one, with the exception of maybe cavalry who are running further afield, and you hope they have initiative enough that they can operate and not simply get lost out there with their horses. So with that, we're going to have the Austrian half of the turn here. It is 8 a.m. As a recap, generally what we've seen is the slow advance, the marching of Austrian forces to find the French retracting in many places before there was a clash at this particular town, which I will not try to pronounce, where the Austrians have actually pushed the French away. And the French potentially have an exposed flank here, which could be disastrous soon. The other forces that are coming onto the map, the French have some that are coming over. The coalition have some Dutch that are coming over. Likely to see more of that here soon. And there are out of command issues that have been affecting both armies over here on the eastern side of the map. The coalition left and the French right opposing one another here. Though this past turn, the French managed to be in activation or command for all their forces, and the Austrians are hoping to get back into command so that they can operate um, this particular turn. So we're just going to keep riding that. I do think we may end up seeing something happen here where um, this hex is targeted for a concentric attack, meaning we have like, well, I don't know. I think we've protected it a bit because if this guy moves forward, he has to attack everybody, which isn't going to necessarily work very well. But these cavalry could swoop around and potentially cause some disruption. So there's a couple different elements there that are going to come into play. But the coalition sees an opportunity here to try to um, make something happen. All right. Well, I'm going to run through the command phase and then or the command segment, I should say, and then we will do the command phase and the movement phase, and we'll show the aftermath of that quickly before jumping into the planned combats for the coalition player turn, the first half of turn 3. Okay, just to show kind of where things are getting to, we have the new uh, reinforcements for the coalition coming in further south. We knew they were coming in. They're pushing here, and what's going to happen while we have a setup for an attack here? Um, these guys can retreat before combat, I believe, and I think they're going to go ahead and do that. So we'll just simply retreat back into the town, and we'll ideally move our infantry and artillery up to provide a better defense there. We're also going to have a combat over here. Now, these guys are in a town, and they only have one attacking hex at the moment, which is with Waldeck there. And so they have 5, 6 strength points, attacking 6 strength points, but because we are in the town, the defending infantry is 1.5. So we've got 5. That's going to increase to, I think you round down. Double check. But I think it's going to end up being the same no matter what. So if it's, whether it's 7 or 8, plus 1 is 8 or 9 to 6, ends up being 1 to 1.5 on the combat chart. And if we roll the die, let's see what we get. We rolled a 2, which is actually pretty good, but it is a DR star, which means we're going to have shock. I think both sides, let's see. Okay, so the best, all right, so French may have an issue in that their best initiative is a 3 on their artillery. So it goes rolling 2 dice, 1 for each side. And again, the Austrians just get a better roll out of this. Geez. Okay, so the attacker initiative is now actually 5. The defender initiative is still 3, which is a DR result. So they will retreat back a hex, and boy, do we want to advance like that? I'm actually not sure if advancing into combat is going to be the right thing to do. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do it. I'm a little concerned. I'm a little concerned with how things are going to pan out for these guys. Well, I'll leave it at that. I think that the fear or the potential that we would get a concentric attack isn't that great, and we've got to watch our flank because they are sending a cavalry out behind us. So that's going to be a problem. The French are probably going to have to pull back. So they're succeeding in that for the moment. And then over here, we have a cavalry versus cavalry situation. They're blocked from being hit with artillery because of the crests blocking it. So this is just a 2 to 1 on the combat table, I believe, which is going to be better for the coalition. And we rolled a 5, which is not very good. That is a shock. And so the shock results, this time it is, let's see, they're both, so it's 5 to 5, which is a 1R. Reduce 1 attacking and 1 defending unit. So, and I could not, well, maybe all right, I gotta check here. We could have retreated before combat. I did already roll dice, but yeah, let's just go ahead and accept the result here. I guess I could have, no, I couldn't have retreated before combat. My bad, guys. The coalition has the higher movement, so we could not retreat before combat. So we're going to reduce these guys. Oh, so the French cavalry must be permanently eliminated because that was the only step that it had. And then these guys could take the hex. They might have to advance after combat, actually. don't think I have to, I guess, but I don't want to advance any more than this because we've sort of opened ourselves up, which is a problem. And maybe I shouldn't have done this, but they could do one, two, three, four, five. They could send themselves way out, but next turn is going to be a supply check turn, so they probably don't want to make use of that. But these guys have now, created a gap in the line, which could be problematic. Um, Here, these guys are in the chateau and do not have to attack, so I'm not going to have them attack. And then we have right here, these guys that are in over the crest are going to be attacked by this cavalry and this artillery and infantry stack. And I haven't done a cavalry charge, so I think I'm going to do that now. So basically, we have the cavalry here. They are doing a charge. They had come around through here. They're going to end up right, or maybe I can't charge out of a town. Dang it. Let's see what the deal is. No cavalry charge into. There's nothing saying that I can't try to do it out of, as best as I can tell. So I think we do want to try a cavalry charge. Yeah, we're not going. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, guys. This can't be a charge because these guys had come from different hexes. So this is just going to have to be a regular combat with them, which is fine. So they're attacking. I don't think the crest hex side is going to matter. Oh, it may, yeah, potential for shock, but I think the French are maybe okay with that. The Austrians are advantaged, so we have 8 to 8 and 5, so 13 to 5. Was checking to see if there was any other sort of action. We couldn't get an artillery fire off before this because we really want these guys to be part of the combat. They could have maybe fired from here. Maybe that would have been better, but I think this is just as well. So yeah, 13 to 5. That is not. It's not 3 to 1. It is just 2 to 1. But we do get a shift to 3 to 1 because we have combined arms. I forgot about that. So we have, yeah, because we have both infantry, artillery, and cavalry involved in the combat. Even if we're not charging. Geez, guys. We're going to get a column shift to the right, which I think is going to be really important to break the French line here. Combined arms, yeah, +1 column shift. Yeah. Okay. So 3 to 1. This is much better, and this could cause a pretty major repulse uh, through the territory that we're talking about here. And we rolled a 1, which is good in the system, and that's a DR3. So yeah, we're gonna have a retreat, and they really only have one retreat path. Had we tried to move some of these units here, that would have caused these guys to be put into the units awaiting recovery box because they can't retreat through a Zoc even if a friendly unit is there. However, moving up like that would have really given these guys the opportunity to flank. So I'm not going, it wasn't worth it in my mind to do that. Blah blah blah. Okay, so I think these guys are fine to retreat, and then the actual path of retreat must be the specified distance from the starting hex. So we can't really zigzag too much. So it's really going to be 1, 2, 3. And so we can have these guys advance after combat, and we'll leave the cavalry out. Which puts them in a good position because we can basically follow this up with more pushing, just trying to drive a wedge through the forces of the French. So that was good. And then over here, there's and technically I should be checking for French bombardment before I do some of this stuff, but these guys are behind a crest. These guys are in the chateau, and that's just not going to work. So alternatively, what they could try to do, these guys here, was offensive bombardment, and but they're in a forest or woods, and I don't believe that you can actually do that either. Yeah, we can't bombard. So this is really just a lot of holding, except for right here, which is the same sort of situation that we saw before. Because the movement factors are equal, we can't change anything there. So this is 1.5 to 1. So far, the Austrians have been rolling hot dice here. Whoops. All right, rolling. So we got a 4, which is actually not so great. 4 is an AR star. But here, there's no terrain that would force a shock result. So the attacker will need to retreat, and I guess we'll retreat like so. Or maybe it would be better to retreat like so that we're not opening ourselves up to some kind of flank maneuver. So, okay, there you go. That is the Austrian turn. We've seen some successes. We eliminated a French cavalry unit, though we put ourselves in a kind of a dangerous situation. But I don't think the French can really afford to make use of it. So it's probably a safe gamble. Like I said, these guys are going to be out of command. So even if they do activate, if they try to come out here and bag the baggage train, catch the baggage train, I don't think they can get there in one move, and then they run the risk of being eliminated during recovery because they're going to be considered to be out of supply. And that's just going to be a problem. I would rather have these units trying to slow down the Austrians than to try to pick up a risk getting a couple of victory points, but then screwing up the rest of the battle. So that's the Austrian coalition, I should say, because now the Dutch are here. The coalition half of the turn. We'll go over to the French. I'm going to do command and movement, and then we'll run through what combats may or may not be occurring. Okay, with the French movement complete, we're kind of creating a better line over here, pulling back. Because we were in a town, we didn't have to attack, so this stack pulled back. These guys, unfortunately, could not, and I'm actually going to have to attack them. So they have 6. We have 6. They're in a town, which means they're actually going to defend a bit better. So 1.5. So either 8 or 9, depending on how you want to look at it. Either way, that leads to a 1 to 1.5 column on the combat chart, and we're going to roll, hoping for the best. And we rolled a 1, which is a retreat. let's see. Yeah, I think we just forced these guys to retreat, actually. So maybe a missed opportunity to stay and fight. So these guys are going to retreat. I don't think we want to advance after combat because that would expose us to being surrounded. I think what we want to do is hold here. There's not much more we can do. I would much rather have this way open over the stream or the minor river so that we can go basically either he's going to have to fight it out probably. He's probably still going to get surrounded because we had to stay engaged, but would maybe have rather had um, some way to pull him back out over the river. But I think he's going to get chewed up. Is what's going to happen. That's almost guaranteed. But I need to hold the line and not have a big old breakthrough, and maybe we'll be able to get this guy back safely somehow. However slim that possibility might end up being. Um, then going around to the center, adjust the camera here a little bit. We are trying to mount a counteroffensive just to make headway in shattering the Austrians who maybe aren't in the best position over here. So we have the reserve force, and I should say I totally forgot to put the French reserve morale marker on the casualty track. So because we have the cavalry removed, that is putting their marker on the 1 place, and they will demoralize at 9 when we get there. Okay, if we get there, because that's a pretty good morale, all things considered. So this is 9, and this is 7, so 16 against 7. So that's 2 to 1. There's no terrain modifier, so while these guys are attacking over a stream, the defender gets a bonus if attacked only through a stream, but they're being attacked through clear as well. So I'm pretty sure that is, kind of a negated state. We're taking a big chance because these guys could come right into our rear, but we're hoping that this is going to be a decent die roll here. It's 2 to 1, which should give us that result. And of course, I roll a 5, which may mean it's not. Ugh. So shock. Best units on both sides are 3s. I'm reasonably confident. Yeah, 3s. And so we're going to roll off for shock. So there's actually an advantage for once for the French. So the French go up 2 to 5. So it's 5 to 4, and they get a DR result. So he is having to retreat, which is not as good of a result. We really wanted to push him back quite a bit. But I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and advance like this so that at least there's not a real chance of getting totally outflanked there. And that will work. Not going as well as I would have wanted it to. Oh, artillery may never advance after combat. Okay. All right, so we have to leave the artillery behind, which is kind of a dangerous proposition there, but I think they've got enough protection for the moment. So there's that, and then we have a combat here, which is a chateau. So 5 and 7 is 12. The chateau is going to be doubled, so 10. So really, this is 1-to-1 with the chateau. 1-to-1. We rolled a 2. That's a DR, but the chateau allows any DR result to be treated as shock unless the defender is demoralized, and they're not. So I think they're going to want to do shock. It's going to be 3 and 3 again. Dropping my dice. Both sides go 5 to 5, and it's a 1R. So he's going to be reduced, and then the unit with the highest strength, which is this guy, is going to be reduced. So things are starting to get hairy here. It's bitterly fought. I think the French are probably coming out of that ahead, if only because if they penetrate this, then Coburg back there with the heavy cavalry are going to be put to flight, and the center will have been broken. So that's kind of a big deal. Over here, we have this stack, which is worth 10. Attacking here, no real terrain modifiers. 10 to 8. It's 1-to-1. We got a 3, which is a DR star, so that is going to force a retreat. I don't think we advance after combat. I think we let that one go. And then here, there's cavalry that would want to get away, but this cavalry is involved, which means I think they can't get away. So this is 5. Now they're in a town, but a town does not actually help cavalry. So these guys are actually in a bad spot. This is 5, 6, 7. They're not being attacked through a stream only. So 7 of 5, but we don't get combined arms because it is a town. So this is another 1-to-1 combat, basically. And despite nearly destroying my stuff, we are ending up in a shock combat. Now, here the Austrians are actually advantaged, which is a potential problem. It's going to be a big problem. So 6 to 3, AR2. So we have to retreat 2 hexes. Not good. So 1, 2, and 2, 1, 2. Which definitely causes a problem for these guys. So we're actually going to see probably a reversal here, where maybe the French are pushing on the second column, but now these guys are going to swoop in and probably just crush those guys is what's going to happen. So that was a problem, and that was exactly not the die roll that we wanted. The shock just was very bad. And then over here, there's really not a whole lot for us to do. We've just pulled back, and that's it for turn 3, guys. Easy peasy stuff. So let me go see about running through the turn 4 Austrian movement and all that good stuff, and we'll see where we end up at. All right, this is going to turn out to probably be a pretty important turn for the coalition. We'll review the movements as we go through combats. They've advanced forward. This guy is caught because he's got a movement of 6, but ultimately, so does this Dutch stack here, along with other units. And this is really, I mean, it's off the chart die roll, basically. Like, okay, cavalry is halved, so yeah, I mean it's the best chart here. And we get a 3, which is defender eliminated, which is our first defender eliminated result. All defending units are eliminated. Okay. Anytime a full strength combat unit is eliminated, well, let's see if this guy even has a. No, he doesn't. He's toast. Okay, so that is a demoralization on the left wing. So starting to see some attrition and some elimination of units. And then, basically, if we want to, we can advance after combat. I think we'll just do that. And we're starting to see some cleanup here. The left flank of the French army is in deep danger. We then also have a combat here that is, so that's 6. 6 is 12. 2 to 1, and what is basically I'm sorry. There's actually more than that. So this is 6, 12, and these guys, which is 15 to 6. Not quite being able to get 3 to 1 odds. So it is still 2 to 1, but this guy is surrounded. And because we have all the pertinent modifiers, it does go up to 3 to 1 for combined arms. This guy is surrounded, so if he is forced to retreat, he's really got nowhere to go, and he's going to go into the box. The only way to avoid this right now is if we roll a 6. And we rolled a 6. So we're going to go to shock. Amazing. So the best initiative here, 3, 3, 3, 3. All are 3s. So we'll roll the die. Gosh, if the French manage to stave this off, that's heroic. Let's see what happens. Okay, so the French get the best die roll. The coalition gets the middling die roll for shock. So the attacker is a 4 initiative versus a 5, and it is an attacker retreat. Oh my goodness. So these guys retreat. These guys retreat. I'm going to have to double check what his option is going to be, because he's kind of in a weird position. I think we can just retreat him like in a direction that makes sense. I don't think we're forced into some weird problem. Yeah, I think he just has to retreat like this, because that is closer to his baggage train. So wow, guys, that was amazing. I need a little marker that says hero, and I need to put it right on this guy right here. He fended off while surrounded, and having the combined arms, bitter fighting push these guys away. I mean, that's something. That's funny. I greatly enjoy it. That was funny. So much for that. Dutch, good job, Dutch. You really screwed that one up. Now we have stuff over here, and what Coburg has done is he's moved forward to try to snipe at this exposed artillery, hoping to eliminate it, while also fighting back over here. And then we're probably going to elect to not attack with this chateau, but we do need to figure out some way to save those guys. So I'm hoping we can kind of knock something loose here and then maybe swing that way. So right here is probably the worst part of the coalition line with the damage that's been done. But alternatively, these guys are going to have a concentric attack right here, and that could be spelling doom for the Austrians as well. I need to take a quick cut break because apparently I must be catching a cold. I'm about to sneeze. Okay, so this attack is 7 to 6, which is really just 1-to-1 odds. No terrain modifiers or anything, and this attack can go off because we're going to be attacking this hex with Coburg and the cavalry there. So this is really just a 1-to-1. So it could end up being anything, but likely a defender retreat. And we rolled a 6, which is a attacker retreat 2. So 1, 2. I guess we'll get behind, or no, we don't want to retreat over the river or over the bridge, I guess, right? We don't want that because retreating over a bridge. Um, Wait, is that a? Well, that's just a. This is just a stream, so I think we're okay because it's not a river. Uh, I guess that's the thing I need to understand here. Bridge. I don't know what to think here, guys, because it's a bridge over a stream. So do we need to be careful of retreating across it? It says units that retreat across a bridge or pontoon over an unfrozen river, not a trestle or a pontoon bridge crossing a stream, risk elimination. So depending on what is meant by trestle, I suppose that's a trestle. So he's fine. So 1, 2, and we'll leave it at that, which is kind of a problem, um, because then this combat of 2-to-1 is still maybe good, but boy, he's going to be in a bad situation if he gets a crappy die roll. Hmm. Yeah, and I assume, and someone please correct me if I'm wrong, Coburg does not have to attack this unit because it's been attacked. So the 2-to-1, clear terrain, and all that good stuff should be a retreat at least on that artillery. And we rolled a 1, which is a DR2. So 1, 2, and I don't think we retreat or we don't advance after combat. So maybe that didn't do a whole lot of good. What was the point of that? I guess. Well, maybe had we succeeded, um, we'd have done more damage. It's really kind of hard to say. It's really hard to say. It's tricky. Okay. Then, yeah, we're gonna do this big nasty combat. So this is 5, 13, 16 to 10. So that's enough for 1.5-to-1. Then it's combined arms, which gets us up to 2-to-1. And these guys are just stuck in the clear terrain, so there's no other defensive bonuses for them. And so this is a pretty great die roll for for the Austrians. They're going to get it, I think, unless we roll a 5 or a 6, which, gosh, I'm going to jinx it now. And I rolled a 6. So, attacker retreat. Jeez Louise. All right, attacker retreat. And I think we retreat like this. Wow. Well, so much for that, guys. Heroic defenses by the French. And that's it for the rest of the combats. There's nothing else that can really be done at this point. So yeah, it's rather interesting. We're kind of in a weird place, and it's kind of a vicious battle in the center right now. It's a frontal assault, though I will say the Dutch are pressuring the French really hard on the right flank, and that could spell doom. And I'm not really sure what I want to do about it. I don't want to be turned up this way. That would be extremely bad. But we're about to make some breakthroughs on the some really good a really good situation with the center here, where we may be able to outflank and defeat the the Austrian center. And if that were to occur, then maybe we could divide and conquer from there. So definitely interesting situation. We'll go ahead and go over to the French side for the next half of the turn. And we'll point out that we have 2 cavalry units of the French in the permanently eliminated box because they do not have a second step. So when they're eliminated, I believe that is always going to the permanently eliminated units box. We're not going to get them back. There's no way to get them back. So already the French have started to lose some guys. That's going to affect things down the road. We always have the potential option of be trying to pull more units back, but we'll see. And I think if the French actually can manage to take that chateau, that could actually be the really significant thing that's going to change the game position here as we go. So, all right, let me go take care of command and movement for the French. We'll see what happens. Okay, here we are after the French movement. Really just kind of trying to pull back into a better position here. There is a possibility that the Dutch try to come around this way, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that yet. So we're pulling a stack back who's going to be rushing to get over here, which next movement they'll be able to get into a better place. That hero unit has been pulled behind this minor river or stream. I can't tell which. Here's one problem I have with this map in terms of usability. There are places where I look and I go, that's clearly a stream. I look here and it looks just a little bit wider, so it makes it feel like it's a minor river or something, but the terrain key seems to indicate that there's only rivers and streams, and obviously the Sombra is a river, so I guess these are probably streams, but I don't know. But you can see we're starting to pull back into a better position, and if I can get these guys over here, then we'll be able to hold for the moment. Before we talk about the center, I'll talk about the right of the French. We've pulled back a bit. So these guys have not been able to activate, so I feel like now is a great time for us to pull back a little bit and have just better mutually defending lines here, where we're going to force combats. Felt a little bit better than try to get exposed where we could be outflanked, so this is just precautionary. And then the actual center formation has pulled back out of being in danger of being encircled again, and really the height of the action is going to be here in the center, where these guys are basically going to force a retreat before combat, which really isn't, much other than they're willing to just pull back a little bit. And actually, probably better if they just did 1 hex. So forcing them back. So now you can see we're really kind of pushing guys back, and My whole maneuver, which turned out to be really dumb, so live and learn, guys, might see Coburg crushed right here. So we had pulled cavalry around. We have heavy cavalry with the artillery, horse artillery, which is going to catch these guys. Uh, and then we have these guys following up with infantry and artillery across the stream. The stream's not going to matter. What's really important about this is it is going to give us combined arms. So we have 7 with 4 is 11. 11 to 2 is 5 to 1, with the additional shift for combined arms being 6 to 1. And again, this is clear terrain, so it really gives us that opportunity, which means we could very well see these guys eliminated. I'm going to roll. We're going to see what happens. And, well, yeah, I guess we're just going to see what happens here. So we got a 4, which is a DR2, which actually means he survives, which is just not great luck for the French, but so it goes. They'll advance after combat here. Well, I think I gotta look to see if the horse artillery can. Yes, the horse-drawn artillery cannot, unless. Oh, okay. So technically, we can advance with our cavalry. So I'm not sure that's actually what I want to have happen. This is kind of a weird situation. I think we just let that. I think we just not advance and just wait out to see what else can be done here. Um, I would have really have liked to eliminated that unit and the commander. I'm not sure what would have happened to the commander. I think he could get away, but that's too bad. And then finally we have the chateau, with the chateau giving these guys doubled combat. So he's 6, and this is 5, 9 to 6. 9 to 6 being 1.5 to 1, and we roll it. And we rolled a 6, which is not good. And let's see. I have to double check to see if this is going to cause shock. It may not. No. Okay, so this is just attack or retreat. So these guys can safely retreat because those aren't rivers, I think. And so kind of a wash, but it does mean that units are now not engaged, which provides the capability to kind of realign our defenses. We can see there's this big gap over here that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These guys can start to get in between here, so the French can't be too cavalier, or they're going to be dealing with an overabundance of Dutch units in their backfield. I'm really disappointed we didn't bag that unit. That was really the best opportunity the French have had all game to eliminate some Austrian units, and they didn't get it. So kind of too bad. But so it goes. So it goes. All right, and that is it for the that is it for the French. The Austrians are looking that we may have some opportunities for artillery fire on the French in the coming turn, but we'll see. So that's it for turn 4, guys. I think this is a decent sized video, so we're going to call it here. Turns 3 and 4. Tight, vicious fighting. We had some really crazy die rolls. I think it is interesting how, you can have a reasonable expectation to get some kind of defender retreat on a given die roll. But then you get that shock, and the shock just throws things in a bit more chaos, and you just don't know where things are going to end up. And that's been entertaining. Again, that hero unit for the French, the multiple combats we've had where we had these units that, like, I'm expecting them to be just snuffed out, and they managed to survive. So far, as we're getting to next turn will be 10 a.m. The morning has been tough fighting, for sure, and it will continue to be tough fighting uh, all throughout. And right now, I guess the victory point calculation is kind of in favor of the Austrians in that they have more losses against the French, but the French still hold the better objectives. So still anybody's game here at 10 a.m. in the morning for the battle. That's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope this was more enjoyable, given I'm not falling over myself getting the rules wrong. I did have to question retreats over stream trestles, trestle bridges over streams. I believe you can retreat over them without a big concern. The bigger issue would be retreating over the river, which is going to make it hard for the French left wing. They may have to decide to do something about pulling behind the river, but doing so would expose a pretty big flank on the rest of the French army. So we're in tough times, uh, probably through midday of this great big battle. So thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. Take care. Keep gaming.